Well, hello, folks. This video is going to be pretty quick, and yeah, it's going to be sort of my sort of assessment of what happened past couple of weeks. Especially with the whole, you know, I think I wanted to say this for a while now, and that is, concerning the Democratic Party. I mean, I understand electoralism. I'm an anarchist, but I get it. I get electoralism to a point, and even from that perspective, the Democrats are basically failing at that regard. They're not really actually doing any electoraling here. And also this sort of fear in this country of any form of social democracy, which is like the bare minimum. I mean, it's not like it's going to solve our problems, but it's like it's the bare minimum to provide people material conditions of what they need. Even that's sort of a sacrilege. But I understand why the news media treats that, social democracy in America has some sort of left wing fairy tale because, this country has been brainwashed by neoliberal horseshit. It's been brainwashed with ideas of rugged individualism, which doesn't really get you anything. It gets you fucking dead, as we've seen with the coronavirus. Because we've tried playing the rugged individual game and we all end up fucking dying. Because a virus doesn't give a fuck about your individual freedom. You get it, you're dead. It's over. Sorry if I have to sound brutal and say that, but that's just what the fuck it is. So the problem is, right? We got people living in another universe in terms of their thinking, right? In terms of their operational belief system. Now, again, the best analogy I have when it comes to, white people and various other, people that engage in this type of shit. I always use the Alexander Great example. I don't know if it's because, it's like Olympia with Alexander. Being fed the fact that, he thinks he's a real god to the point in which that he thinks, yo, man, I'm invincible. I can go into a freaking Babylonian marsh and not get malaria. And then he gets malaria and he fucking dies. That's the level of delusion we're dealing with some people in this country in terms of their ideological framework here. So, you got Piscatty, the White House correspondent, the Biden administration, at this point, it's very clear. I mean, his approval rating is going so down. And I think it's because I don't think it has to do with like Trump cult people. It has to do with it has to do with even certain Democrats within who are Democratic voters are in a sense sort of like, what the fuck is he doing? Right? And the mistakes that he made in terms of the vaccine. I told people from day one with the intellectual property thing, that shit is going to murder us with this psychopathic obsession with intellectual property that Bill Gates and these other fucking yeehaws were trying to push. And I was right, because that's the reason why we have all these freaking variants. It's because we're not letting people in the global south and other countries and giving them the information for free to make their vaccines. That way they could have efficiently made it faster so they could have vaccinated their populations instead of creating other strange or variants. But no, the global north was like, fuck that. We need to have IP properties. We need to make profit off this shit. You see what capitalism gets you, folks? Gets you fucking dead. And just for profit motive. It feels like a death cult. So it's ridiculous. And these people are like, oh, we have to work about intellectual property. Why the fuck are you worried about that? When we're trying to get people to be vaccinated all over the world. What the hell is that a concern? You would think these guys who are up in arms about intellectual property, you would think for a second they would be like, you know what? We don't want to make more money. We want capitalism to continue. Fuck it. We'll swallow our pride. You know what? give you the vaccine. We're not gonna do IP shit. We're not gonna do this. Which they could have done, but they chose not to because it's like, oh, or this bullshit. Oh, we need to be ahead of China, bro. We're in a pandemic. China's affected by the pandemic too. What the fuck? You know this. I'm really happy I'm an anarchist because this is the type of shit where you realize a borderless society is a fucking better one. Because when you come to this crap, when it comes to shit like this is no longer a game anymore. Okay? This idea of, oh, well, we need to concern ourselves about borders and, crossing lines. Viruses don't give a fuck about that. They're going to cross regardless of the fact, because guess what, ladies and gentlemen? You're dealing with the reality of nature itself, which is reality. You're not dealing with something that's outside of construction here. Okay? You're dealing with the reality of what makes a fucking apple fall from a tree. Gravity. Okay? It's a similar vein to how viruses spread. Yet we're sitting here acting like, well, we gotta learn how to live with it. Yeah, we have to learn how to live with it, but we also have to learn how to mitigate it too and have fucking vaccines. I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you. It almost feels, and this is just the truth of me saying this, folks, it's almost as if shit has gotten even worse in our modern society than it was when the Spanish flu broke out. And we all know what happened with the Spanish flu. And that came after those folks dealt with a world war, which was pointless, which led to the death of so many people. And yet, those people had the sense to realize, yeah, we need to have the vaccine. We need to actually concern ourselves to actually protect ourselves from getting killed. I don't know, maybe, I mean, again, I don't want to say it's because of like, well, they didn't have the internet. I'm not going to say that's what it is. But the reality is that why the hell did those people had a lick of sense to understand, you know what? Should probably wait this out. And here in this country, we decided, fuck it, we're just gonna wait the storm out. And what? It's, and again, this is why we keep having these variants, because again, this is the Biden administration's fault. They could have just easily just uplift the IPs and be like, fuck it, I don't care what you corporations are saying. We're giving these people the vaccine. I don't give a shit. We're not doing IP shit. Okay? People in Africa, they're getting the vaccine not in 2023. We're giving it to them in 2021 or 2020. Nor in 2025, like some other countries are getting. So you see what I'm saying? This breeds more variants. This doesn't like stop it breeds more variants to be created. Because viruses adapt and they change. It's what they do. They're organisms, they're trying to survive. They will adapt and change. They just do it in a more rapid pace because they're celled organisms. Their lifespans are way shorter. Well, with the perception of time, you don't know. A week for them is probably like 1,000 years. But I'm not going to get into that sort of detail. But this is what I'm saying here. And it's very clear with the Democratic Party. They're doing the whole, well, we're just going to ride the storm. What? And, it's very clear that there are some Democrats who are stuck in the 1990s. Very much so. I mean, I think there's Obama brain and Clinton light brain. These are basically the factions that are holding the Democratic Party at bay. The third position, third way, Bill Clinton light era of policy making. That Rahm Emanuel, those fuckers all come from. Larry Summers, another motherfucker, comes from that sort of thinking. This level of thinking is dying. And I think some of these Democrats don't realize how fast it's dying. To the point in which, you know what? People look at an Obama press conference and, Obama, we would hate it, but people would give it a pass. Now we look at Pelosi doing something and we're just like, bruh, you're just doing a West Wing impression at this point, right? So, what can I say, ladies and gentlemen? This is America, right? So, you know, I kept telling people that this was going to be a problem if we don't let the vaccines be widely available. If we keep hampering on this IP bullshit, we're going to get more variants. Just because a couple of rich guys want to have exclusive deals or we want to compete with fucking China with a freaking pandemic happening that affects everybody. This is why a borderless, stateless world is a better one. Because of shit like this, right? Because of bullshit like this. Oh, man. Regardless of the fact, um, well, I could talk about the teachers union, but we all know what happened there with the Chicago thing. Because, oh man, that CNN segment was god awful. But I don't need to discuss that. Other people have made videos on it. I just wanted to just make my thoughts on what's happening with the Democratic Party and you know COVID and everything that's happening currently. And it's very clear that there are people who really want to turn the clock back and be like, we need to go back to the neoliberal era of thinking. And it's like, but there's hope in that brush where people are starting to notice, and that's the hope I have. People are starting to notice, especially after this pandemic, and thinking to themselves, we can't live like this. Like, we cannot have a dismantled social safety net system. And I'm happy there are many people in the US who are coming to that conclusion, who are realizing this is not good. This is not good. You know, this, we're not in the 1980s anymore. We cannot think in this sort of thinking. It's in the 90s or the 80s where everything felt like it was like peak American power, and even the 2000s period. So, and those eras have like shifted. It's gone another direction. So anyhow, folks, I'll just leave the video here, and hopefully everyone is safe. And yeah, it's just things that have been frustrating me lately for the past a couple of days now, especially in this country. And oh man, tired today. But yeah, this shit is tiring. I'll tell you that much. It's just you look out at this country and you're just like, well, I guess we're fucked, right? It just feels like that sometimes. And yeah. Anyhow, you have a wonderful day.